Hey there, everybody. I'd be willing to bet that everybody in here tonight has encountered some sort of obstacle in their lives while trying to achieve something. Obstacles varying from someone doubting you, or physical obstacles such as health maybe, or maybe just overall ability. There's also mental obstacles, maybe such as like doubting yourself or psyching yourself out before something. And in my experience, getting through these obstacles is a lot easier said than done. But a man I think has done a really good job of doing this in his life, overcoming obstacles and stuff, is Michael Jordan. Jordan didn't let other people get in the way of achieving his goal. The first obstacle he really encountered was getting cut from his high school basketball team in his sophomore year. Some people might have taken that and tried out for another sport or something like that, or given up on basketball, but no, Jordan worked real hard in the off season, used his almost motivation even, came back and made it onto his high school team. Jordan also not only made his high school team, but went on to play 3 years at North Carolina, and then also made it into the NBA and became a 6-time champion. But even in the NBA, people even doubted Jordan. He didn't win a championship for the first 7 years of his life, or his career, I mean, because of the Pistons, and people even told him maybe to join the Pistons so he can win one and get his rep up a little bit. But once again, Jordan used this as motivation, worked hard, came back after 7 years and won his first NBA of 6 championships. So that's another good example of him overcoming his obstacles. Health didn't even faze Michael. For example, in the 1997 finals, Game 5, most of you know that's a pretty big game to go out and play a good game in, especially in the finals. Jordan came down with the flu actually before that game. And rather than resting and taking that as an opportunity to kind of recuperate for the next game, he actually played in the game that night and finished with an astonishing 38 points and 5 assists. And not only that, he won a huge momentum-shifting game on the road against the Jazz, and obviously was a huge part in winning that game, despite being sick. And I also printed off a print of his logo for the Jordan brand name. It's one of the most recognizable brands in basketball today, and I think it just represents all the success that he's had through all these obstacles that I've mentioned. Having a brand named after you is a pretty big deal after all, and being arguably the best of all time in your sport is also a heck of an accomplishment. In conclusion, MJ was arguably the best in all time in his sport, even working through all of these obstacles that I've mentioned. Various ones stood out to him throughout his career, not just the ones I've mentioned. He's a great inspiration to everybody that obstacles can, in fact, be overcome, and you can actually be extremely successful through them and use them as motivation. And thank you very much for coming and listening. Have a great night.
Yep.